Today, to 2025, we say, Bawi Grana Nik Wittibong. This is ChillPoint.
Wow.
What did we say?
Bawi Grana Nik Wittibong. It's the universal greeting
Of
the universe.
I
Everyone knows that.
uh-huh.
Bawi Grana Nik Weep Ninibong. Yeah.
Okay.
It's from Transformers.
The movie
What
specifically.
It's
The
from the
animated movie.
original Transformers cartoon movie.
From like the 80s?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, of course I haven't seen that.
No.
I mean, it's a solid movie.
No, I'm talking to the chat. He's
But-
all like, "Oh, you've never seen Transformers?" And like, what part of Transformers? There's so much Transformers.
I feel like-
that's an unfair question.
It's true. It's true.
I feel like though you were still an age group that you might have seen it when it did come out, which I think was like 88, 89.
I believe it was also
And it was on home video forever.
It was also they did a shout out to it in like the Transformers War for Cybertron video game.
Nice.
The majority of the Transformers I saw was Beast Wars / Beasties, depending on what area you were in.
Yeah, but this movie had Orson Welles and Leonard
So?
Nimoy. Why wouldn't you as a child want to watch that movie? Judd Nelson was in it.
I barely know who those people are.
I mean, to be honest, like,
don't even know who
it was
Judd
even
Nelson
like
is.
slightly before my time.
Yeah.
I've seen the new Transformers movie. It's cute and fun.
That's terrible.
I warned you not to eat those. They're so old.
Those are the Timbits from Loading Ready Live on Saturday.
Yeah.
That have been in the fridge.
They've just been in the fridge, drying out.
It's such a.
There's
it's,
still some eggnog.
It's like a. It's kind of it's more of like a Timbit crouton.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Anyway, hey everybody. Welcome to
First year of
2025,
mistakes.
which we've already established isn't going to be much different from 2024, at least from a ChillPoint
Yeah,
perspective,
like these Timbits are going to be much the same as the last one I just ate.
but just drier.
I don't know. 2025 sounds like something more interesting than 2024.
Yeah, it's raining out right now, so it won't be
Yeah,
that
it's
dry.
really perfect.
Yeah.
And
So maybe I just gave away our location. It's raining out where we are.
Oh no. Wait, gave away our location? Like people don't know what part of the country we're in?
Yep.
I know some people don't know we're Canadian, by the way. If you don't know, welcome.
I apologize. My voice is a little
Sexy?
hoarse. I'm talking a little bit low these days. But I'm still. I got sick over Christmas. I guess I was naughty.
Yeah,
And Santa brought
that's
Throat pull?
brought
What?
yeah brought it.
yeah,
brought-
that's the real reason you don't want to be on the naughty list. Santa gives
yeah.
you disease.
And so thanks to Beej and Heather for continuing ChillPoint on last week.
Yep. It was definitely like a
what
regular episode of ChillPoint.
Yeah, from what I understand, you covered all the relevant news
Yep.
of the times.
Yep.
I will say, part of the reason why Checkpoint is on hiatus just at the moment, is obviously it was first Christmas and then New Year's, and so nobody wanted to write stories for that.
Yeah, we
which is
need
fair.
to
It
take
was our
off the
decision.
Christmas week.
Yeah.
But
and
then
it was like, cool. We could take off 2 though.
Oh, what if? But,
And
but,
what a
but-
great idea.
But what if second holiday?
Yeah, what a second holiday.
But the other reason, it's not just arbitrary. The other reason is that there's a lot less news coming out. I was looking at my news feeds yesterday, and I kept seeing all sorts of really interesting stories, and then I would like open the story, and it would be like, first published in April 2024.
Yeah.
We're recapping some of our favorite stories from the year. And
Right.
it's like, damn it.
Yep.
Oh my
And
god.
it's like, oh, did that happen again? Oh, no.
Yeah, it's actually pretty common practice amongst some of the podcasts I listen to put up an older episode or like a bonus episode that's maybe money gated for services and stuff as kind of a, this way we can still have our stuff happening, but we can take a break. Also, there's nothing to talk about after the Game Awards happen,
Right. Yeah.
right? Like anything
the
anything
Game
between
Awards is
Game
such-
Awards and Christmas is just what's on sale.
The Game Awards is such a definitive industry defining
It just kills everything.
thing.
It murders everything.
There's no reason to have any news after the Game Awards because it's, basically just defines what we're all going to be talking about for
Now,
the next little while.
I think the thing about the fact that there's a chance that that several Nintendo-based DMCA takedowns, turns out
empty your
that
mouth.
a lot of them could be false, was pretty big news. So I feel pretty good
We
about
talked
that.
about that last week. We don't want to talk about it
We're
again.
not going to talk about
So-
it again, but just like I feel like that was a pretty good piece of news.
So obviously,
No.
I can't remember if I don't think I've actually said what we're doing right now. This is ChillPoint.
Oh, good. We derailed well.
This is a show where we're talking about video game news.
It's because he ate Timbits and still doing it.
We're also, and normally we would be talking about the episode of Checkpoint that went up on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/LRRVG.
No, but we don't have to do that anymore because there'll never be Checkpoint again.
Until next week, possibly.
Until next week, possibly.
I can say that forever, though. There'll never be Checkpoint again. Till next week, maybe.
It's true.
Yeah.
That is always true.
Next week, the finale.
And so there's a few pieces of news this week, but not too much. Also, I figured since I missed last week talking about stuff that happened in 2024, maybe I'll throw in my couple things. I was looking through my the various
Unwrapped.
the various hey, this is what you did in 2024. Now the problem is my gaming is heavily split between I played lots of stuff on Switch, and then I played stuff on PC, and because I played it on PC, it's split between 9 different video game launcher system, between
right.
Yeah.
Steam and Epic and
GOG and Itch.io.
yeah, the GOG. And
My
Itch.io and
Steam one
stuff.
is really funny because there's 3 games on it,
Ah.
and one of them I didn't actually play. I just opened to make sure it worked.
So yeah, my and it was actually kind of interesting to look at it and looking at hours played, and then versus if I think back in the year
Right.
and think about the games that I sort of enjoyed the most. Sometimes it wasn't the ones that I spent the most time on.
Yeah, that's fair.
Funny how that is.
Well, because that idea of what made them did it have a lasting impact.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because when I was looking at my Nintendo Wrapped, I was like, right, I did play Saints Row the Third this year, and I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun doing it, but I don't remember that I did that. If you'd asked me, hey, what
Right.
games you play this year? That would not have come up. Sakuna of Rice and Ruin would have definitely have come up, even though it was the second half of the year. But I also wouldn't have thought that I put as much hours into either of those. It turns out I did put in tons of hours. So yeah.
So when I looked at my Switch stats,
Yeah.
by far the game by the most was Persona 5.
Okay.
That makes
'Cause I-
sense.
I-
that
you know,
game
I-
is a
I-
very long one.
Yeah, I started. Now I had about 30 hours in Tears of the Kingdom in 2024, but that's just leftover from
Right.
Yeah.
most
Yeah.
of the Tears of the Kingdom time was in 2023.
Yeah, that was me too.
But yeah, I had 100 and something hours in Persona 5, and I spent a long time playing it, and I didn't spend that much time playing it because I didn't enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
But when I think back on it, I'm like, I don't think I'm not excited about playing another Persona game.
Not every one of those 100 hours was an absolute banger.
Well, it's one of those things where the game is so long that you kind of end up burning yourself out on it. So you got to wait
Yeah,
a while before maybe you want to take something up like that again.
I enjoyed a lot of the a lot of aspects of it, and then I found a lot of aspects of it extremely frustrating. And partially that's just sort of it's that this is how this kind of game is done, and it's I mean, I can't necessarily fault that. Well, I guess I can fault it, but I understand that that's the way it's done, but I don't like it.
That is
And
fair.
that's
Fair.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it is. But Persona 5, still amazing game. And I think one of the few games, or a game that, like, mechanically I had a lot of problems with it, but it was definitely one of those games where, the characters and the story, I mean, especially the characters. I mean, the story was even, kind of weird and not that interesting in some parts, but I just seeing all the characters interact with each other and the way they were very sort of three-dimensional characters and really fleshed out and very interesting and you sort of want to spend time with them. Got me past a lot of the aspects where I was like, oh, this is kind of grindy.
Given how that game's laid out, if you didn't want to spend time with any of the characters, it would be a really slog of a game, wouldn't it?
I'd be interested. I wonder. I mean, I'm sure there are the people who do challenge runs of JRPGs. I'd love to see a antisocial Persona run. Like every day, you just stay in your house. You just stay in your
Just making lockpicks.
your apartment and just do whatever the bare minimum interaction with the rest of your group is, and just get up, go to sleep. Get up, go to school, come home, make lockpicks or do whatever.
So go for more of a reality of how school
work
probably
out
really
on
was.
the pull-up bar in your
Get a lot of reading done.
in your
'Cause
attic.
I think you can read up there.
Yeah, you can read and do homework and then go to bed and just never interact with anybody.
I think it'd be kind of fun that if in a case like that, if you chose to play the game that way, that after you do that for a month or so, that your friends come to your house and there's just an unskippable event of...
We're kind of worried about
Yeah,
it.
they have a bit of an intervention
that'd
to
be
be
really
like,
funny.
we want to drag your hikikomori ass out of your house.
That would be funny.
I mean,
yeah.
well, because one of the characters in the game.
Yeah,
is,
they kind of
is
have that with one of them. Yeah.
The whole thing is that she never comes out of her room, and her character arc is learning to be more outgoing. But
She doesn't. Yeah, she doesn't fighting your party as a fighter. She's the tactics person essentially.
Yeah, which is weird because it still gets you to outfit her with armor and weapons and stuff, and she never can use them. It's an odd aspect of it. Anyway, so then I was looking other games. So obviously, I've mentioned I think I mentioned it on here that I played the new Zelda.
Yes. Echoes of Wisdom, yeah.
Which I quite enjoyed.
Yeah.
Man, I usually, no, I don't 100% agree, but I'm usually on the same page as Yahtzee. He put Echoes of Wisdom on one of his bottom 5 games of the year.
Oh, really?
He really didn't like it.
Oh.
I think he just thought it was not interesting.
Ah.
It was sort of just very rote. But
I've
I really enjoyed it.
I've heard people say that there's a game on itch.io that does the whole creating things, like summoning stuff with a wand and having those be interactable elements, does it way better and way slicker than Echoes of Wisdom does. But I cannot remember the name of the game.
Sure.
But it was one of those things that to see somebody say it's like, oh, well, they did this, but this game by an indie creator is so much better doing that. And I'm like, I think that's also kind of the life of an indie creator, is that you come up with a really cool idea and you might implement it and it takes you forever to do it. And then you'll see a AAA company do a similar thing. And it's not as good, but it actually is way more popular because...
it's a known franchise.
Because it's or
Also, they have a
huge marketing push
budget,
behind it and stuff.
that kind of thing.
During the Desert Bus, I got Dave the Diver was on sale just before Desert Bus.
Ah, okay.
So that was what I spent most of my non-Desert Bus time and non-sleeping time.
Right. Just in Dave the Diver.
Sleep, Dave the Diver, Desert Bus. Dave the Diver, I enjoyed. I think I agree that with some of the criticism that it's a little bit kind of running off in all directions. There's all these weird sort of mechanics that will just be like, oh, hey, it's like we're just going to drop you into a weird stealth mode for a little 5-minute chunk.
Interesting.
And then and that like is never used again.
Oh.
And it's just like, why did you do it like that? Okay, cool, I guess. It just has like Balatro in it.
Oh, right. Yeah, I did hear about that. Yeah.
I mean, it's not the full game, but
No,
it's
no.
like
Yeah.
It's meant to be.
It's. I mean, they did a collaboration with a couple of other indie games where they basically kind of had like there's a little bit of Balatro. There's a little what's it? Dive. Dredge.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like
they did the
the
Dredge
deep-
crossover.
I was doing it in my head too. I was being
Yes.
like, I know there's a thing.
Didn't they do, was it Dave the Diver or Dredge that did the Godzilla crossover?
Dave the Diver.
Yeah.
That was actually, but that was, and like that was super cool. But again, there was like this like Godzilla combat thing that you do that again uses a whole different mechanical system that is never used anywhere else. But the central thing of like swimming around in, you know, these gorgeous sort of pixel art underwater landscapes and catching fish and exploring and doing stuff was a lot of fun. And they had quite an interesting story, and so I definitely got into that.
Less terrifying than Subnautica.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
yeah, but
there's a
Subnautica is like a survival style
Yeah.
game almost.
I mean, you can Dave the Diver, like you can run out of oxygen, but then it's like you like go back to the surface and it's like, oh. And you can, and there are like a couple of like scary, you know, you'll like go in an area and something like will come along, but it's not too bad because it's like all sort of pixel art and stuff. It's not, doesn't have the same impact of Subnautica when you're running out of oxygen and in a tiny little thing and there's 4 monsters out there and you're like, help me.
Yeah, or there's like, or you turn around and all of a sudden there's the giant brain fish that's reading your mind and teleporting you around the place. So I'm like, oh good, this is exactly how I want to spend my evening.
Yep.
Thanks for that.
That was always that was always like teleports you, and I'm like in the like suit.
Yeah.
And so it's like teleport as a suit, and then like get back in the suit. Okay, let's go. Teleport in the suit. Go back. And it's like you're more just like inconveniencing me, not like fighting me.
Yeah.
You're
I mean, you got lucky. I got zapped out of my Seamoth and then got killed, and I was like, okay, great. Fun game.
Yeah. Sheepy, I wanted to give a shout out to.
Sheepy is
Oh, yeah.
so good.
If you haven't played it,
It's
and
free.
It's free on. It's
Steam,
called
at
Sheep.
least.
Yeah, on Steam. It's called Sheepy, a short journey or something.
Short adventure.
Short adventure. It's about a 2-hour. Sort of. I mean, I don't know. It wouldn't be called like a Metroidvania because you don't like.
You don't really go back.
You don't go
not in the
back.
same way. Like you can kind of look around and stuff.
But it's basically just like a really tight, really nice, and it's like just a 2-hour sort of.
Here's my favorite part of that game. There's a section in the game where you find like a console of monitors, and there's a little swirly chair, and if you stand on it and you run, you can make the swirly chair run around.
I remember that.
And that's the best part of that game.
But yeah, super well done. I'm assuming it was in some ways like
It's an advertisement for something that's going to come later.
Well, or just like as a sort of portfolio piece.
I would 100% play another game made by this person.
Yeah, like I would either play another game made by this person, or
Should be a long adventure.
if I was a developer, hire this person to make to work on my company. Like it is an excellent portfolio piece.
The fact that
not
it's
only
on
that they sort of understand how to make a game, but actually like how to make a fun game.
the fact that it's on Steam instead of being, because I just assume games like that always end up on itch.io. That it's like that's where that's supposed to go. Is that even if you can't play them in the browser, it's like they're still free to get. You can download them. You can do whatever you
Well, you
want.
can get lots of free games on Steam.
Yeah, but it's just surprising to me because I never assume that that's where those things will end up. But it's another game. Sounds like I can add to my journey pile.
The yeah, all the comments on the like all the like reviews are like, please let me pay for this game.
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy was another one that it showed up on Epic right at the beginning of the year. And, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy is the game that the legitimately good game that was tanked by the Avengers game being terrible.
I can concur. I played the Avengers game.
The Avengers,
It was terrible.
The Avengers game was bad, and it came out slightly after the Guardians of the Galaxy game, and it looked kind of similar. And people, and they kind of got equated, and people, they were like, oh, it's just like they made they made like an Avengers game, and they made a Guardians of the Galaxy game with like the same engine, and they're just going to be basically the same. And but the Guardians of the Galaxy game is like, I enjoyed it, like I enjoyed the story in it more than like the most recent Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
Oh, okay.
Like it was like legitimately, this could have been one of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, and I would have been very entertained.
Nice.
It was very well done. When I was thinking about games that I like sort of remember fondly as my favorite games of the year, I think I gotta say Mario Wonder.
Oh, good.
I played that on Play It Forward near the beginning of the year, and it's really stuck with me as just like a fun time. I just, the sort of, the ideal of like what I want to be doing, playing a platformer.
You had a highlight make it into the end of your highlights from that game.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were where the platforms are showing up by time, and you're like, oh, okay, it's timed, and you like went too fast, and you're just like,
yeah. There's a fair amount of like, I'm amazing. Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a genius. Help.
Oh,
and then when you and Corey and I
oh, that was so fun.
And we like got through. There's like the level that's like, I think it's like the very last like secret level in the game, and it's just like ridiculously hard. But we just survived by like basically cycling us dying.
Oh, okay.
It's like as long as one person is alive at any given time.
Yeah, so the other people can come back. Yeah.
The other people can come back.
Yeah, they definitely did. Because that's the only part of it I've played so far is just like that one session we did. But they definitely had the multiplayer working better than I've seen them do in those style of games before. Like you don't really crashing into each other in the same way.
Yeah, they did a good job of that.
It feels more polished.
And and it's just, I have such a fondness of games like that where not only like the game is fun to play, but there's also this like, I keep wanting to go to the next level. Partially just to see what weird and wacky thing is going to be there. Like, I have no idea what's going to happen because of the whole wonder effects. And so it's just like, I just want to know what's going to happen. I'm just looking around the next corner. So it was great. A couple of games, I've mentioned before that I play games with my brother, who he lives in Boston, and we often play games together. But finding games to play can be quite difficult. He's on a Mac, and I'm on Windows, and we're playing remotely. He's not a big fan of like first-person shooters or sort of twitchy type games, and
this
so
is kind of the easier to find multiplayer style game.
Yeah. One time, one of the first games actually we played together on Xbox. This was a few years. This was like on 360. We played Gears of War 4, I think it is, and that's one where it's like designed for 4 players. So like you play with 2 players, and then there's like 2 CPUs that hang out with you as you do it. And we were playing and we were like talking at the same, and we were we sort of use it as an opportunity to just kind of catch up over the week and stuff too. And so we were playing and talking and stuff, and we were realizing that like the 2 NPC guys, if we just like didn't fight at all, they were like totally fine. And it's like we're like, are we just like you know, the tourists that these guys are basically like taking through the safari.
Right. Yeah. It's like, don't worry, I'll set them up for you. It's like, oh.
I don't feel like we're actually contributing to this.
Oh, that's really funny.
And to be honest, that might have been partially because we weren't very good at the game.
Yeah.
But anyway. So a couple of games that we did play that I really enjoyed. Chance of Sinar. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I found, at least in our situation, is that like Chance of Sinar is not a multiplayer game, but it works. We played Return of the Obra Dinn as well.
Okay.
And it works. These sort of puzzling type games actually work quite well, where you have, you know, you basically have the equivalent of like having two people sitting beside each other with one person controlling.
One person controlling and
And
both
so, but
trying
you
to
have,
figure out
but you have two
together.
people kind of trying to figure out the puzzles and stuff.
Right.
And especially with Chance of Sinar, you know, he could be like writing notes about things, and it's a super neat game. The sort of linguistic aspects of it are not only super interesting, but they also like make it also like one of those games that like makes you feel really smart when you figure it out. You're like, wait, no. The grammar is different in this language.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. This person thing goes behind this.
Speaking of language, Chance, Chants. Whenever I heard people talking about this game, it always sounded like they were saying chance.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Chance.
Because it could be. The rest of the title is like, well, that's anything. So the first word and like,
I do like it
English,
when people, I like it when people say, when those things happen where they're like, no, it's, you're saying it different. You're like, what do you mean? It's like, well, what's her name? Mary. And what does she do? Like what? And then she went with that dude and they got married. Mary got married. And it's like, no. But then she was feeling Mary. And it's like, okay, yeah. But do you see how they all sound the same? And then somebody will say, no, they don't. They don't sound the same. Mary was married because she got married. And it's like, see how all three of those are different? It's like, no, they're not. But there are some accents where apparently there is a slight difference.
Mary Mac's mother's making Mary Mac marry me. My mother's making me marry Mary Mac.
Wow.
That's the
good tongue twister.
It's a great big C song. Or it's a traditional Eastern Canadian song. Anyway. And then the other game that we played that is a multiplayer game, but is really interesting, called TikTok.
Okay.
I think that's just a thing that you watch.
This is TICK?
TICK. Yeah, we played TikTok. There's this thing, and there's like these videos,
but
they're like vertical video.
Oh, I see.
I just learned about them.
And they loop really badly.
No, TikTok is. I don't think it's like a new game, but it's a multiplayer game, except there's no actual connection between the two computers. Like it's not online.
Okay.
It's available for PC and Mac, and I think in iOS as well.
Do you both have to do that thing while you're talking? You're like, all right, 3, 2, 1, start the video now.
No. So what it is you start it. It's intended that you have some sort of communication between each other. So like on Discord or whatever.
Okay.
And then, or even on the phone, but you can't see but you don't share like your screen. Mm-hmm. And when you start the game up, it's like, are you game A or game B?
Oh.
And you say A and the other person says B. And then you go through and basically it's like a sort of point and click puzzly type game. Not like Myst, but like, you sort of have, it's almost like one of those like room escape games, where you have to like open things and type in numbers and do all this stuff.
Yeah. All right.
But all of the puzzles require information
from the other player.
You only have half the or some of the information.
Okay.
And so basically you have to collaborate. You have to be like, okay, I'm seeing this. And then the other person's like, well, I'm seeing this.
I guess
that doesn't make any sense.
I guess in a way it is asynchronous because you are experiencing two different things.
Yeah.
Even though that to play the game, you could actually play them at different times too, but you'd have to be asking each other different, okay.
You wouldn't really be able to get far if all the information you need is in the other.
So there's really, there's all sorts of interesting things with like, I have, half a map and you have the other half of the map. And then we have to sort of describe to each other where to go, it does that thing with, almost like the like goat can't keep talking and no one explodes, where you sort of build up a vocabulary, your own sort of internal vocabulary over the course of it, for like all the different symbols that show up in different things. So it's like $5 or something. Like it wasn't very expensive, and it was a fun time. It's not like super long,
Right.
but it was a fun game. Sort of an interesting. The story was a little bit like, oh, okay, sure, whatever. But the puzzles and stuff were quite. It uses, it's got this mechanic of information back and forth, but it uses it in all sorts of different ways.
Right.
It doesn't just sort of do the same thing over and over again. I recommend it. Check it out. So yeah, I think that was all of the games that I wanted to talk about.
There's that one that's above TikTok.
Oh, it's true. So I did play. I did spend a long time playing Infinifactory, which
I thought you pointed it out to Paul and you said there's that one called TikTok, and I'm like, you just talked about that one.
Yeah. Now talk about it from another perspective.
Which is I think it's considered to be the most accessible of the Zachtronic games.
Oh yeah, okay. I was like, I've heard this title, but I didn't realize.
It's basically like it's sort of one of these things where like it's sort of a factory building thing, except not really a factory. Like you sort of build like a machine. You've got like a bunch of parts, like a thing that spins things and a thing that cuts stuff and a thing that joins things and stuff. And then you get a bunch of blocks, or you get a bunch of things that are sort of extruding blocks at a regular interval. And then you have like a shape that you have to make at the end. And so then you have to like sort of figure out how to use make these blocks like travel on conveyor belts and move them around.
Still happening in space.
Yeah, and it's like a 3D environment.
Right.
And it's one of the fun ones. It's got a sort of a fun, and it's pretty minimal, but it actually has kind of a fun story stuff that I don't know, for me personally, having a sort of an extra sort of layer of story aspect, even if it's like relatively perfunctory, it really elevates a game. Like it sort of is like, now I feel like even if it's silly, I feel like I have a purpose.
Right.
And so in this one, it's like you're literally like just like walking along and you get like kidnapped by aliens, and it's literally you get like kidnapped by aliens, and the aliens are like send you into this. You basically get like teleported into this like weird little like space void area with this thing that's like ejecting blocks, and this thing that's like make it look like this, and it's like, yeah,
we need you to do this for us.
We need this to do this for us. And you find like message people being like, what the hell is going on? Why are we doing this? Why do we have to do this? And then over the course of the thing, you end up like, you end up like you meet the resistance, and then you end up like the blocks, rather than just like random blocks, you're actually like, you have like a tank tread that you're now making, and then like a gun that you have to like attach onto it, and you're like starting to make like, and then you have to like make a ship, and then you get
interesting.
There's all sorts of interesting. Or there's one mechanic that they get later on where they sort of have a portal thing, but due to whatever vagaries of this technology they're using, the portal is only 1 block wide. And so there's a whole series of challenges that are, you have like a tank that you have to get over there, and so you have to deconstruct the entire tank, send it through this portal like into like 1 block at a time, and then reconstruct it on the other end.
Yes.
Which is kind of fun.
Can a tank pass through the eye of a needle?
Yeah. Anyway, it's I recommend checking it out. I mean, I'm sure I got it on, again, Epic, free on Epic, but I'm pretty sure it's would be fairly inexpensive considering I hope Zachtronics. I know that they're sort of Kaputski, but I hope it's still available. This is called Infinifactory. It's also one of those games that has like a billion audience-made mods, and levels that the audience has made, and ridiculous. You come out, you're like, I made this little mechanism to do this thing. I think I am pretty good at this. And then then there'll be like the like leaderboards for like the people who did it the best, and you'll see the one that wins, and it's just like it's like, what that can do that?
Yeah.
That is not what how the physics works.
Have you ever played Little Inferno?
Yes.
I played that at the end of the year.
I actually just replayed that this year.
It's a lot of fun.
I mean, it's basically, it's sort of, I mean, in some ways, it's a game where in the course of playing the game, it sort of makes fun of you for playing itself.
Yes. And it's sad if you think about it too long.
It is
but
very sad.
Because there's lots of fun explosions.
It's especially good on like, I had, for whatever reason, I have it like on iPad, which is good.
Oh
like,
yeah,
drag,
no, the
you can,
iPad
like,
would be
drag
really
stuff
good,
up.
yeah.
By the same people who did
It's Goo World.
World of Glue.
World
or
of Goo.
World of Goo, which has
Yeah.
like a sequel coming out
Yeah.
that I'm kind of
I
stoked
thought
about actually.
I thought the sequel was out.
Oh, maybe it is actually out.
Or maybe it's not. I played the first World of Goo on like the Wii or something. Because it used you could use the
Yeah, I really like
motion
World of
controls
Goo.
for it.
Oh yeah, World of Goo 2 has been out for a while. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I remember them advertising it during some promotional thing and being like, oh, neat.
It was
and
in
I
a-
just haven't gotten to it.
It was in a direct. It was in a Nintendo Direct for
Okay.
partners. Yeah.
And I mean another one that came out this year that I know you were playing is the Monument Valley.
Yeah, Monument Valley 3.
Yeah,
came
3.
out.
And as a side, yeah,
I've been
as-
doing it in fits and spurts because I want to kind of draw
as,
it out.
as a random thing. You know, if you've got if you happen to be subscribed to Netflix anyway, check out the like iOS and Android stuff because they have like
They have a number of
a
games
lot
that
of
are...
like surprisingly huge bangers.
Yeah.
Like Civ 6, for instance, and all
Hades.
the 3 Monument Valley games. Hades, not so they're only on mobile, which is unfortunate. It's like some of those games I don't want to play on mobile, but
Yeah.
anyway.
I have this sense of like with that too because I'm like, you have Hades on here. So if I could play that on my Apple TV and I had to attach a controller to it, I think that would be kind of fun. I don't
Right.
need to because I
It's
already
all-
have it on my
yeah.
Switch, right? But it's like, but I think that'd be kind of a fun way to come at it
Yeah.
because all like the GTA trilogy is there.
Yeah.
Like the later ones, like San Andreas and whatnot is on there. And I'm like, yeah, if you guys would make this playable on Apple TV, I could maybe play these games because I'm not going to try to play them on my phone because that seems ridiculous because that's not where I do a lot of my like
Yeah.
running around gaming kind of thing. But yeah,
But some of
No,
the, like
but-
they've got like puzzle games and stuff. They're
If you got an iPad and a controller, Hades
And-
probably just fine.
yeah.
I mean, again, you know, as with the like Amazon thing, this is not an endorsement of Netflix.
Nope.
But if you have Netflix,
Yes.
you might as well take advantage of it.
Yep.
What did I downloaded Case of the Golden Idol, and it has some of the ugliest characters I've ever seen. Just absolute, like the art in the game, I think, is on purpose. This terrible pixel aesthetic, which is so good. Like I'm like, look,
Maybe the characters aren't just there to be attractive to you.
they're definitely not. They're meant to be awful looking people, and
Wow, like
just
Twilight Princess.
terrifying looking people, and lots of just deaths, and you're just like, oh look, that person is dead in a very grisly way. Okay, cool. And but I played my way through the main case recently, and that was a lot of fun. It was definitely a great way to spend not being able to sleep all night. So
Yeah, I've heard good things about that one.
mean-
I think they came out with a sequel as well.
yeah, Return of the Golden Idol I think has just recently come out, and I think
Yeah.
that's a Netflix game as well. So
So yeah, that was my year in gaming, I guess. I will say, despite how much I enjoyed Dave the Diver, I'm currently playing Golf Story.
Oh, yeah,
much,
yeah.
and very much enjoying
that's
it.
a fun one.
Never
did finish
and still kind of sick of, or still kind of I could kind of wish games weren't so heavy into the pixel art these days.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like, you know, Dave the Diver, very and beautifully done game.
Yes.
And there's a lot of like really nice art in it. And
Yeah.
I was just like, I would be also fine if it was like not pixel art.
Yeah, we have like an abundance of pixel art stuff, which could stand to
I don't
back
know.
off of it a little bit.
Yeah.
There's also, I've found, and I don't mind the art style so much as there's like, I feel like there's been a lot of Metroidvanias that do a really nicely sketched out character, but their backgrounds look like they're in the foreground, and I wish they would make them look a
Yeah,
little
that's
bit
fair.
more different.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
I'd like to know what I can hit and what I can't.
Yes.
Without
Yeah.
having to find out through trial and error.
Yeah, Ori and the Blind Woods was very bad for that. It's almost too gorgeous a game.
Yeah.
It's like I wish that your backgrounds were less beautiful so that I could not have so that I wouldn't pay attention to them.
I just
so
need
that I
them
would
to
know-
look a little more faded out or something,
Yeah.
so I know
like, what can I jump on?
Yeah, yeah. Especially what can I jump on?
Yeah.
But there's a couple of stories that I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
We're only 3 days into the new year.
And already some work. Yeah.
A few things. Some of the things are that there isn't news. Well, not that there isn't news, but there's during the Video Game Awards, there was a teaser for a new game from the developers of Yakuza.
Yeah. So you gotta go
Or,
Toku
or,
Studio.
or should I say the developers of Like a Dragon.
Yes.
Because that's the name of the series now.
Yes.
Called Project Sensory. And everyone, certain things were revealed in that trailer, but it was a teaser. It wasn't really a trailer. It was, just given a few details. And of course, people have been wildly speculating, translating, translate like the symbol on the back of his jacket and do all, figuring out all this stuff. And, the developer Yokoyama has just after, so this is on Boxing Day, he says every fan theory and bit of speculation he's seen online about Project Century is wrong. We didn't include any information in the teaser that would enable people to guess. So
It's a match 3 game then.
that
All
seems that seems like a challenge. Yeah.
Honestly, I would absolutely play a Yakuza style match 3 game. I think that would be really interesting.
I think movies should do that more often too. They should make teasers that have nothing to do with the movie they're advertising. It should just be like,
They've done that before.
yeah, but
And
like
then
go
people
real
like
hard.
sue them because they stuff isn't.
It's like, hey, wait, that was supposed to be. It's like, no, we just made a teaser that has nothing. We put a whole bunch of effort into making a thing that has nothing to do with the thing that we're advertising to you.
I mean,
That was an ad for toothpaste. I thought it was for jeans.
the
Well,
Comedian was the best version of that. Right?
In The Watchmen?
No. In the movie The Comedian it was like a documentary about Jerry Seinfeld and
Oh, okay.
another guy, but the trailer was this they had Don LaFontaine or no the movie voiceover.
Yeah.
Being like, in a world where laughter was king, and then the guys from the booth.
He's like, no, Don.
it's not. That's not that kind of a movie.
Yeah.
And then so this idea that he's just like making up the thing. Anyway, it's a
Right,
brilliant.
because he had the in a world, in a time, in a land before time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's about a comedian guy. One man. When your life is no longer your own. What does that even mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was an excellent teaser. Had nothing to do with the movie. I didn't actually like the movie very much. But it was very funny.
See, Land Before Time was a movie we actually
Yeah.
had in the house.
A cop. A robot renegade cop.
before they made Land Before Time 2, and then suddenly a million more of them.
Yeah, Land Before Time was the original Fast and the Furious. Let's make 10 of those. Did they go to space at some point? Probably.
Oh, I have no idea. I
Shit,
only
that'd
saw
be
the first
amazing.
one.
Oh my god, yeah, they should just abandon the whole thing and been like, screw it, we're doing all sorts of stuff. And it was all about family. You're right, Earth in One.
It's true. There you go.
Yeah.
There's
And
only
they end
only
it-
one family movie I need
And
to know
there's
about.
a barbecue.
And then
probably.
Jesus shows up. Yeah.
But there's only one family movie I need. It's just Stitch and Lilo. None others are needed.
So,
Lilo
the
and Stitch.
Pokemon TCG Pocket has been blowing up the charts.
Yeah.
I've gotten pretty good at it.
And there's been a couple of actual tournaments.
I tweaked my fire deck.
Interesting.
And so people have done some analyses of the tournaments, and currently, Gyarados, best Pokemon in terms of most most wins in
okay.
in most decks in the most winning decks, narrowly edging out Pikachu.
I mean, Pikachu's got like some really terrible, depending on the Pikachu you've pulled out, because there's like I think it's an EX card.
Yeah, these are all
where
the EX versions.
It's like two powers, and you get like 30 hit points for each benched Pokemon you have, which means Pikachu can hit for like 90.
It's
really annoying.
Yeah, Gyarados, Pikachu, Mewtwo.
Gyarados is real strong. Blastoise is one that I keep having problems with. It's like got 180 HP, and
So this is reading the meta is what they're doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the main reason why I think this is a funny story is like, especially if you've played like the Scarlet and Violet, where you have the Pokemon like actually out in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, Pikachu, he's like a little guy like this.
Sure is.
Gyarados is like a 30-foot long sea serpent that can fly.
Yeah.
And blows fire.
So weird that he's so powerful.
yeah. Well, I mean, you gotta, because in order to get Gyarados, like, you gotta put out the Magic Cart first, which is only like 30 HP, and I don't know what its move is because I haven't used it. And then I think Gyarados requires like 4 power on it, which means you've got to generally build up the more powerful Pokemon.
Anyway, yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see to like, if the Pokemon TCG Pocket version of Pokemon starts to sort of like, it'll be interesting to actually see like a Pokemon style, like a sort of mainline Pokemon style game, but using the
Paper cards?
Because like the card game, the Pokemon TCG card game, the like normal one.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Is designed to emulate
right
the game, like the video game.
Right.
But it'd be interesting to like go back to like make a new like video game where you're going around and collecting Pokemon and stuff.
Right.
But the actual like Pokemon fights are closer to this mobile version than it is to like the standard Pokemon fighting.
So they make a mainline video game that's the uses the pocket mechanic.
Yeah, it'd be kind of an interesting idea.
Basically, be like, if you don't put your Pokemon on the bench so that we know it's there, it doesn't count.
Right, you need to get all your guys lined up.
Well, that's the thing, because if you have like an attacking Pokemon, then you have like 3 is where your bench goes, and then you have like the cards in hand. And if you only have like 1 attacking Pokemon and your opponent manages to feint or kill off or do whatever, and you don't have a benched Pokemon to take its place, you just lose.
Right. Which I believe you told me.
I managed to do it in like turn 1 to one.
Yeah,
opponent.
she turn 1 dumpstered somebody and told me about it, and I was like, I don't understand. And she explained the whole thing. I'm like, oh, I do understand. You're a goblin. Oh my god. It was a hell of a move too, because.
Well, I guess it's technically like turn 2. Like I had the second go around or something, but yeah, I had a Ponyta out. I was able to turn into Rapid Dash. It only needs 1 power, so I only had 1 power. But then I had a card that let me up its attack by 30, and I was fighting some poor green deck.
Is that like in like Marvel Snap or whatever, when sometimes you're just like do the whole thing, snap, and the other person's just like.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly felt bad
Concede.
for them, because if they had just had something else out behind it, then
The game would have continued, but
Yeah.
it sounds to me that it's like, because it is about putting cards in your deck, and they're like, well, they didn't have a card, they didn't have anything in hand they could
Yeah.
play into their bench.
I've had plenty of games start where, because of the way I've got my deck tooled, I can't maybe get more than 1 out for a couple of turns, and that's why you have other cards to try to dig for other cards in your deck.
So this story is a little bit like wishful thinking.
Oh, that sounds like most gaming news.
But so here's the thing. This awesome Lego PS2 set will be officially considered for production. So
Considered.
legitimately awesome.
Yeah, all right.
This does look like a pretty awesome set.
I'm going to be honest, I couldn't even tell it was Lego.
I mean, you can sort of see it on the controller.
The controller, I think, makes it a little more obvious.
Yeah.
I just always thought those controllers looked shitty. So anyway,
But like what this is actually saying, it's not like Lego is considering doing this or making this. It's Lego has a user submitted
like the creators portal or something, right?
the Lego Ideas site.
Right.
And if you can submit projects to that, and if it gets a certain number of votes, then Lego will officially comment or consider it for production.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Many of them do. So yeah, it's just
So
saying
somebody
that
built a
this
black
is,
monolith essentially and like, hey, wouldn't this be great to have?
so yeah, so it even has like the inside.
Yeah,
bits.
that's what kind of gets me is that the moment that you take the top off and you're just like, oh, this guy, the person who did this, they went hard.
I mean, you've seen the Nest, right?
Does the Nest have like a motherboard and everything on the inside too?
It's got like a whole like contraption to make the cart go in.
Oh,
and
sure,
out
but
and
does it
a bunch
actually
of
have
stuff.
like, did they actually model the motherboard with like,
the inside.
yeah, with like capacitors and like all sorts of other stuff, like chips and everything else?
Don't remember.
But yeah, I mean, the idea that like, because of course there's a whole Nintendo line of Lego now,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and so it would be cool to do other.
Yeah, I imagine
other
like
consoles.
because the majority of things they probably get through that website are, hey, you should make Zelda Lego and you should make
Yeah.
this other franchise and stuff, which then
Also-
requires them having to get like licensing
License, yeah.
set up and like there's all kinds of reasons why that would never maybe make it through.
Also, but I mean, as you mentioned, there's a bunch of Nintendo Lego out there already. You know, Echoes of Wisdom. Everybody basically looks like Lego people.
Yes.
It's like a no-brainer.
They actually remind me more of like Playmobil.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
And
true.
I really kind of think they should just make some play sets.
God, remember that one year at PAX when Link's Awakening came out and they had the giant diorama at the
It
Nintendo
was so
booth?
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The massive size of this room essentially was just this massive diorama of the landscape for Link's Awakening. It was really cool.
A couple of, well, they're not, these aren't, one of these is an actual leak. The other one is a data mine, which is sort of a leak, but not actually a leak.
Alrighty.
Different kind of water.
Yeah.
One came from the roof and one came from the ground.
So Destiny 2 is going to be doing an upcoming event called Game to Give. It's a charity campaign.
Alrighty.
Very cool.
Okay.
Good.
But data mining into the latest update that they made in preparation for this campaign. People have found some of the textures and things, including
This weird vacuum cleaner.
cell shaded weapons.
That's kinda
and,
cool.
and
It
skins.
looks like a hand vac.
And which, previously, the reason why people find it a big deal is previously cell shaded stuff like that has been kind of the realm of like Fortnite.
Yeah.
And to be honest, and this style looks a lot like Borderlands too. So people who are like, "Huh, Fortnite in my Destiny."
And then people who are
It's-
like, ugh, Fortnite in my Destiny.
Yeah. It's more likely than you think.
Except, that looks better than Destiny's style or Fortnite's style. Fortnite to me looks a lot like Plasticine.
Yeah, well, Fortnite has they tend to have a certain style with like sort of people have like big hands and feet.
Yeah, you know what they say about people with big hands and feet?
They're characters in Fortnite.
They're clumsy. Always tripping over themselves.
So that's a data mine.
So that was a data mine. So that was it was a thing that was released, but people weren't intended to see that part of it yet.
Right.
This other thing is legitimately a huge leak. It was something like 90 gigabytes worth of Halo history, I guess you would call it. Historical Halo stuff was leaked.
Like somebody hacked into a server, grabbed a whole bunch of shit.
No. Well, not really.
Okay.
So the interesting part about this, so basically, so there's a massive Halo leak going back to like 99. So a bunch of like early like Halo 1 stuff, some stuff from like when it was a Mac exclusive game.
Right.
Mac users all grumble.
Yep.
Grumble. For once, we were going to have a cool game that was going to be one.
It's kind of the thing. I mean, like Xbox benefited hugely from being able to get Halo.
And so a bunch of stuff about Halo 1, a bunch of like things like sort of E3 demo levels that were never actually released. So levels that were but the interesting thing about this is the reported source of this leak is something called the Dig Site project. So 343 Industries, or the company that was previously 343 Industries and is now called Halo, I think.
Okay.
And they're just called like Halo Company or something. Anyway, Halo Studios, that's it. Hired a group of they got a bunch of modders and basically put them to work attempting to restore some of this old content.
And they said, here's a whole bunch of stuff that's associated with this. Now, comb through it,
and you guys are modders, so like you know how to like access these old ass map formats.
And we
stuff.
Can't be bothered, but you can.
And we want you, the super enthusiastic public,
to work for free,
to work for this, and to pull these, and then we can like maybe take some of these old maps and like release them for a modern thing.
That sounds like fun.
And from what I understand, this was indeed like, hey, you guys are really enthusiastic about this. How about you do this? And then not actually like paying them.
No.
Like
there is value to be gained in the idea of that. You mean you'll let me see all this stuff for free? I'll see a whole bunch of stuff that will never see light any other way. Yeah. Maybe there's a benefit for me to being involved.
And it's like, oh, that's exciting. Until at the point where you're sort of like, but there's a X Twitter thread where one of the, not the person who leaked this, but one of the other people who was working on this Dig Site project, talking about the Dig Site project basically wound down. And the guy is saying like why it sort of stopped working was because it was getting to the point where it's like we can't spend as much time, like the amount of time that is going to be required to take these assets and turn them into new stuff. That's a job.
Yeah.
We
that's
can't
fair.
do this for free.
Yeah.
And 343 was like, okay, that's fine. Then we'll not do it. We won't do it. And then the people who you weren't paying, but were giving access to a bunch of confidential material was like, oh, I guess I'll take all this confidential material as my fee.
In exchange for the time that I spent, I'm going to keep a copy of this on my own computer.
And so and a bunch of it has now been released. And
you don't have to pay people with money.
Now, what's interesting, it's not clear, obviously, who has released it all, because it could be that it's like somebody who worked as part of this modding team has released it all, or somebody who worked as a part of this modding team got their shit hacked and got a whole bunch of stuff stolen and put up. Like, it's not clear.
Or it's like, maybe, who knows? Or it was like on a Discord server that somebody went.
Yeah, let me show you this cool thing. I showed it to a friend who was like, well, I'm not under NDA. And then
the weird thing that a couple people have commented, so the initial leak of it was on some forum with like a bunch of mega files, a bunch of mega links. And then, be grateful for your presence this Christmas. Your short-term fun has long-term consequences.
Wow.
Which is
all right.
Sort of ominous.
Yeah. What do you actually mean by that?
I don't know. I feel like people forget that consequences is just a sequence of events
Full life consequences.
A thing happens after you do another thing.
Yeah. So, I would expect sort of similar to the like Nintendo Giga Leak or whatever.
Yeah.
I suspect that things might sort of dribble out of this as time goes on, as people sort of start unpacking things and figuring out what actually they have.
Sifting through it.
They've already, like I said, they've already found some things about like, some of those original demos, some levels that had previously, or like early versions of levels. Apparently there was an early version of Halo that was like a third person game. And
Right, because they were going to try to do that later. Because the whole idea with Halo initially, I thought, was that it was like it's supposed to be kind of a spiritual follow-on to Oni in a lot of ways.
well, that's the other one, is that apparently that's the thing that I personally am most excited about. Oni is like one of my like favorite all-time games that isn't actually that good.
It's fair.
Oni is like the game above all the others that I think deserves to have like a remake or a redo. Like it's so good. It's got so many cool parts to it, but it clearly has a lot of issues. And
So when you say remake, or rather redo, I maybe a do-over.
a do-over.
Yeah.
A do-over.
Oni was great, but yeah, it had a lot of problems that I acknowledge, even though I really enjoyed playing it. And apparently there's some Oni info in this, but apparently Halo, the original, there's original concepts for it as a third person game, which, as people have pointed out, like Halo was one of the, along with say like GoldenEye, it was one of the big like, oh hey, first person shooters actually can work on a console with a controller.
Yeah.
That sort of, and so, who knows how things would have changed if Halo hadn't been a first person shooter on Xbox. So
Yeah, I hate to break up the party, but we probably should.
we probably should call it there. We're gonna a little bit shorter for ChillPoint this week. Not only because there wasn't a checkpoint, so there's less stuff going on, but also because it's going to be a Friday Night Paper Fight.
Fun Puff is very soon.
We'll talk about what that is later, but for now, we're going to say thank you for all your support, especially at the Patreon, at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun.
And thank you for all your support in 2024.
Yeah.
Making 2024 such a successful year for us.
Yeah, and let's see how fast we can speedrun 2025. It's a day shorter.
Is it?
Well, 2024 would have had February 29th.
Oh yeah, the 24 hours.
So technically,
Yeah.
we can make 2025 happen faster.
Yeah, that's speedrun. Thank you all so much for supporting us in all the ways that you do. And I hope you are excited for stuff coming up in 2025. We are too. And we are also excited to find out those things that will be coming in 2025, because we don't know them all yet.
No, that wouldn't be any fun for us if we knew all of them.
Thanks everybody for watching, and we will talk to all y'all later. Bye.